So I got another certified letter from the city. I cannot believe this. Today is supposed to be the day this 2JZ starts to look like an engine again. I got the manifold ready, the turbo's ready to go on, and I thought this was just going to be another normal assembly day. Except before I bolted everything together, I checked one last thing. The turbo was sold to me as having a .82 AR turbine housing, and that's not what I found. Do I run it anyway? Or do I dig through my pile of turbo parts and see if I can find something that's going to make this turbo work for the 2JZ application? If I can solve that, we can finally get the manifold and the turbo on and we'll be one step closer to first startup. Here I've got a CX Racing T70 turbo. Now if my goal was to make 800 plus horsepower or 600 plus horsepower, this would be perfect, but that is not my goal. So I've showed some of you guys in the previous videos that this shelf up here is full of turbo parts, manifolds, ported manifolds. So I went ahead and I pulled down all of my turbo pieces and we're going to look through them right now and see what I can find. The main goal here is that we find a turbine housing that fits with the same specs that this one has, but in a smaller AR. So here we got a bunch of turbos. Some of them are complete, some of them aren't complete, some of them are rebuilt. This is a fully ported hybrid turbo that would work really well on a Miata. It's got ported inlets, ported outlets, and it has sized up compressor wheels to make the clearance between the compressor housing and the turbine wheel as thin as possible. Over here we got freshly rebuilt 1JZ GTE turbos, and these are going to be going on the 1J that goes into the R33. All of these turbine housings are at my disposal to figure out which one works. Now, the first thing that I noticed is that I have this housing right here, and this is a .68 AR turbine housing. Now, the main detail that I noticed is the signature of the casting indication right here. You see how it says NB085? Now, if you remember, when I showed you the other turbo, it had the same characteristics in the stamp. So let's take these two turbine housings and let's compare them to one another, take some measurements, and see if they can actually be interchanged for one another so I can get the size turbine housing that I'm looking for. So I already went ahead and I took off the clasps that hold everything together, so I just need to pull this apart. We'll start off by doing a side-by-side comparison. So the first thing that I notice is that this is a NB106 casting, right? And this is an NB085 casting. Now, off the bat, the fact that these marks are in the same family in terms of how they are categorized tells me that we're already on a good path. So now that we've established that, I'm going to go ahead and take some measurements of the turbine housings and figure out if they are the same. And now if I take the clasps and I put them onto this .68 housing, they match up all the same as well. So now I'm going to take the micrometer and I'm going to measure the upper lip on this one from side to side. We'll go hole to hole so we can make sure it's perfect. That comes in right under 81 millimeter. If I take the same measurement on the .68 housing, that comes in pretty much exactly the same as the other one. Taking the inner diameter, that comes in at about 75.5 millimeter, and on this one, it's exactly the same. So the main visual difference that I see here is on this .96 housing. It's got a slightly smaller diameter right inside where the wheel matches up to the wall than this one does. However, my micrometer can't quite squeeze in there and take that measurement. So I'm just going to have to trust that it's going to work just the same. The main difference that I see inside these turbine housings is that the throat where the exhaust gas exits is tighter on the larger turbine housing than it is on the smaller one. However, due to the AR measurements being different, that shouldn't be a problem simply because you already know what the size of each one of them is. The fact that it fits in, it centers up, the clasps bolt on, is enough evidence to show that they're part of the same family. And if you look at the geometry within, besides the throat, you can see that they have the same properties. So I'm going to assemble this one just like this, and I'm not going to pretend to know what the difference in throat diameter is going to cause for the turbo, but I guarantee this is still going to spool up significantly faster at a lower RPM than this one will. Let's go ahead and put these together. We'll set this one off to the side, and if the day ever comes that I want to make big power, I already know I can swap this housing onto the turbo, and it'll be ready for it. If you look at this one too, it's got the same 3-inch V-band clamp on the back that this one does, so that's excellent. So just as I was going to put on my manifold, I realized that though I thought I had the exhaust gaskets, it turns out that I lost one of them. So here's the rear one. And then the other 3 that I have that would be the front one are actually for a 1J, not a 2J. So I had to take a trip over to Toyota today after yesterday my good friend Clay went ahead and ordered me a front gasket with his employee discount, and it was overnight shipped to the Toyota that's right down the road. So huge shout out to Clay for saving the day and saving the video, because now I can actually put the manifold on, get it bolted down, get the turbo on, and we can keep it moving. Now, I didn't know this was going to happen when I got the turbo, but this is a CX Racing turbo manifold, and it's a CX Racing turbo. But let's go ahead and get this slapped on the car. Some of you guys in the comments might mention some of the warnings about these. I've heard that the welds crack and that you should probably get them reinforced. But if the time comes, we'll take care of it then. Alright, so I got my restrictor plate and my feed plates in. And the restrictor plate has the size hole that would probably be necessary for a ball bearing turbo. Now this is a journal bearing turbo, so you want the hole to be as close to like 2mm as possible. Specifically for this application. I don't know if this is like a universal thing, but I know based off my research that this restrictor is far too restricted. So I went ahead and I dug through my drill bits and I found this bit right here, which is a 1.95mm drill bit. I'll go ahead and measure this with the micrometer, verify that I grabbed the wrong drill bit. Oops. So we'll go ahead and verify the size of this drill bit with the micrometer, 1.95mm. It's pretty close to 2mm, but with a little bit of persuasion, we can get it opened up just a tiny bit more. So it's not quite 2mm, but with a tiny bit of persuasion, you can ream it out a little bit. And with the size of the bit, it'll be right around 2mm. So just like that. Now we won't starve our turbo of oil. Honestly, see how big the hole is on this? I'm curious if this is going to cause issues over time. It might, but we'll find out later, because I'm not waiting another day to put this together. It's been long enough, you know? Don't people coat these gaskets in like some grease or something so they don't stick to everything? I don't know the trick, but I think I've seen people do that before. Either way, we're not going to do that today. We're just going to get it all put together. So one thing I have to do before I put the manifold onto the 2JZ is I have to go get the 4-bolt wastegate flange cut off, and I have to get a V-band flange welded on. So Lou met this kid at Wawa like 3 weeks ago, and he got really excited over a 240, and I guess he bought an S14 and he's trying to get into 240s and stuff, and he actually messaged me on Instagram when I was looking for a welder and referenced me to his neighbor. So we're going to go over to his neighbor's shop, we're going to check it out, we're going to check out Buddy's cars, and we're going to get this thing fixed up. So let's go on a little adventure.
Oh, they're gonna hate you.
Oh, I know.
They're gonna hate
but
you.
you know the craziest thing is that car actually came a version of it that was actually piston.
Yeah.
The 808 version.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna talk and they're gonna say a lot of things, but hey, like
It's your car. Do what you want.
it's okay. Whoa.
Is it a little dirty?
No, it's my dumbass opened the gas.
Oh.
Yeah, with a 2JC swap in it.
This has... What? No way. A slingshot up here, right? Right? Pretty cool, pretty cool. Are we serious right now? 2JZ GTE swap slingshot? Are we serious right now? This is sick. No way. Whoever owns this car is about to have the sickest rig. That's crazy, dude. It's got a fully custom twin turbo manifold on it. Are you serious right now? That is impressive, dude. My man's just in here cooking up the fire, dude. S14 KA.
Right now, but I mean, I got a full turbo kit for it, ready to go.
Fire. But you're just trying to make it run NA, right?
Yeah, for right now, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And then I'm gonna boost it once I know it's actually healthy enough to beat on it.
Where's your MAF plug?
Where's the what?
Yeah,
hanging right there. Yeah.
Right here.
I checked it below.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
So I need to see if I have a MAF for him.
I do plan to use it. So.
Fire. Nah, bro, she's a killer. You'll get her fixed up.
Yeah, all adjustable arms, coils. Yeah, solid bushings. It actually works too.
Who's got a roof skin?
Yeah, working
and a rocker. Anybody got a rocker for an S14? My man's needs it. Kid's hiding it right now.
Sunburst yellow, I think that is.
Sunburst yellow.
Rolls Royce, James Bond ass looking. What? Look at this thing. The old right-hand drive. With a couch in the back. 350 small block. Are we serious right now? That's fire, dude. Success, man. Just takes one person. Let's go put this back on the JZ and make some AN lines. I got the manifold wastegate converted to V-band. I got my wastegate on here. Now it's time to figure out the solution for the oil feed and the oil drain. Now I've seen a kit online that has an oil feed that runs from the oil filter side underneath the block up to the turbo. I did a little bit of research, and that line is 48 inches long. So as long as I make a 48-inch long AN line, that should work perfect. All right, so we've got our new gasket here. Could you imagine if it didn't fit? Oh, that's perfect. And then we've got my other one right here. The cool thing about MLS gaskets is that they can be reused. They can press, they can fill any warpage that might be occurring. I don't think I have any warpage occurring, but we've encountered our second problem. The runner on the manifold hits this stud right here. So I'm going to remove this stud, cut off the end of it, right where all this extra stuff is that you would normally tighten it down with, and then I can use the double nut method to go ahead and get it locked into place. Alright, now that the manifold's on and I got that other stud shaved down so I could go ahead and actually get it to fit on, we're going to go ahead and slap on the turbo. So I went ahead and I got the intercooler piping put back in. I went ahead and I mocked this all up a few months ago before I left the shop. And now that I have the proper turbo in place, I was able to go ahead and kind of piece everything back together, figure out which other clamps I need to get. I had to order a couple 3.5-inch clamps to go ahead and put on that HKS pipe over there. But my allergies are just kicking my ass today. And for the last like 4 or 5 days, it's been raining nonstop in Florida. And it's getting to me. So it could have something to do with how my buddy came and he did a weed killer spray over in this yard over here, and he took out all the grass, and then through the past 2 weeks of it raining constantly, it's all grown back. And then obviously the weed killer, it kind of stops being effective after a while, and now I'm just all flared up and my nose won't stop running. It's humid. It hasn't been cool out at all at night, so I'm just gonna pack it in so I can try to help my body get over this. I'm trying not to sneeze right now. So yeah, I will see you guys in the morning. So here I've got some 4AN PTFE line, and I think it's made by Evil Energy. Their products are really good. I don't see any reason not to use them. Everything comes from China anyways. I seriously doubt there's a single American company that's actually producing AN lines. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this measured out. We'll get it cut, and then we'll go ahead and put the fittings on. Nothing can ever just be chill with me, dude. Everything's always got to just fall and... It's chaos, brother. I embody chaos. You know what I'm saying? Alright, we're back. I can't angle grind near the JZX. That would be a horrible idea. So we got two 90-degree 4AN fittings right here. Uh-oh. I cut the wrong line. This is 6AN. This is 4AN. Let's run it back and try again. Perfect. Go slice it right there. Alright, we back. Try that again. Gotta get that line all the way seated in there. Just spit on it, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You gotta spit on it. You can't be going in dry. Let's tighten these down. So you're probably like, Zach, what are you going to attach that to? So I went and I looked at some of the NAT conversion kits, saw what they come with. Because if some of you guys don't know, this is actually a GE VVTi block. GTE pistons swapped in. I don't have the oil feed on the exhaust side like a GTE block would. Look at this. So this is 1/8 BSPT. This outlet is 1/8 BSPT. And then these ones are 1/8 NPT. 1/8 or 1/4, one of the two, NPT to 4AN. Just go ahead and put it in there like that. We'll get it tightened down. And then this side, the 1/8 BSPT, and the one where the oil pressure sensor goes, those both get Teflon tape because they're not self-sealing. I like to go back a couple threads so it doesn't shear off into the sensor and then end up in the oil system. But if the Teflon tape got into there, it would surely clog it up. Leave a couple of those threads open at the top so it can screw in and then it can seal after it's got full contact. Teflon this end right here. There we go. Alright, so I initially cut this line a little bit longer than what the measurement was. So I went ahead and I put the straight on there. And if the straight doesn't work, I can just take off the upper fitting and then replace it with a 45. So let's go ahead and test fit it, see if it works. So this return line's probably going to work just fine. With that extra bit of length, it's swooped down, gravity fed, not touching the manifold, and it's got a little bit of slack on it. You can see here that the feed line runs right down next to it, so I can probably get a clamp that holds these together. And since everything's connected to the engine, it's not like it can flex and pull on it because it's literally just connected to the other side. Excellent stuff. Turbo feed, turbo drainer on. I went ahead and put a piece of heat sleeve on the drain because it runs right next to the manifold. Now I got the car jacked up so I can go ahead and I can flare the custom brake lines that I made. And I can put on the M1 by 1.25 nut that goes on it. I have to flare it afterwards for the front and the back brakes. I also went ahead and plugged in my Continental flex fuel sensor. That's a GM part, which is already wired into my harness. So I just have to connect the lines on that tomorrow. So I got another certified letter from the city. I cannot believe this. Technically, it's not their fault. They're just doing their job. However, it's very petty. So my neighbors continue to call the city over and over and over again and keep trying to get the city to do something about, I don't really know what it is that they're trying to accomplish, right? So it is my understanding that they called the city and they have been complaining about the height of my shop. But that doesn't matter. My shop was built, inspected, approved. They can't do anything about it, right? So they complained about my cars out front. They complained about the height of my shop. So the city showed up, and I guess a new member of the code enforcement department worked within the zoning department. So he has a different set of knowledge than the people who are hired for code enforcement. And so he came over here and he looked as hard as he could to try to find anything he could to basically violate me for. So, what is the problem? So first, I had to reiterate what a driveway extension is to the people who actually, enforce code, because though putting down rocks adjacent to your driveway constitutes as an extended driveway, apparently they still don't see it that way because my neighbors want to complain about the quantity of vehicles that I have out here. Alright, I made my point. It is an extended driveway because there's no way to permit to extend your driveway. The only thing you need a permit for relevant to a driveway is putting in an apron, because you have to follow a bunch of specific codes and structures in order to properly put in an apron. However, if I wanted to pave this whole section right here where all the stones are, I wouldn't even need to pull a permit to do it, which means that if I put down rocks, which they constitute as an extension of your driveway, that's exactly what it is. So this portion right here of rocks is in the easement. This is the PU and DE easement, the public utilities and drainage easement. So when you choose to do things on your easement, on your property, you are doing it with the full understanding that if the city needs to utilize your easement to do work, they have the right to tear down, remove, destroy anything you put there. It is a common practice, not just something I chose to do. Everybody builds their fences on the easement because it's your property line at the end of it, right? But you do it with the understanding that it, like I just explained, they can remove it. It does not make sense how a fence is considered less of a permanent structure than loose gravel. Because if they came here and they needed to dig, what could they do? They could just move the gravel, right? If they want to tear down the fence, they're going to tear down the fence. They can remove the gravel too. Secondly, if I can put up a fence there and I can park cars on the easement behind my fence because it's private, why in the world can I not have rocks in front of it? Well, that's not for me to debate, because obviously if I don't correct the issue, then I have to have a city council meeting, I'm subject to fines, and how much sense it makes isn't really, I can't do anything about that. Even though I do believe I made my point when I spoke to them and I explained to them how little sense it makes, they're pretty logical people over there and they don't really want to mess with me. They're just doing their job, which I totally understand. So today, Jack is going to come over with the skid steer and we're going to remove 10 foot of rock, and we're just going to push it behind the fence because I can put it there, and since it's behind a fence, they can't do anything about it, right? So it really makes absolutely no sense, but it's not a choice that I really have any sort of control over. So I'm going to go ahead and start preparing everything to get this moved. And I don't know what my neighbors think they're going to accomplish by this, because I can just squeeze the vehicles closer together and park it where I don't have rocks. And I'm pretty sure I can still literally park a vehicle right there and it not be an issue. It's just the rocks. So, what a very, very strange thing to have to do. I'm going to go ahead and open the fence up. I'm going to get the 240, the Cressida pulled out. We're going to clean up the area while we wait for Jack. And then we're going to go ahead and modify all this stuff. What a good car. Starts right up every time. Now for the Cressida. First start every time. What? What? You taking pictures of me moving cars to do work? What? What? Really? 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 I'm not allowed to move my cars? Really? What? What? That's the f***ing piece of shit that came and tried to slander me at the city council meeting last year. I'm literally moving cars so I can fix what they're trying to violate me for, and he pulls around the block to take pictures of what I'm doing. Bro. Dude, it's my property, bro. I can park a car on my lawn if I want to. Bro, I'm usually so chill about stuff. Man, this shit's gotta be harassment at this point. Now let me iterate. I completely understand that I have zero expectation of privacy the second I step out my front door. Like, I totally know that. But the reason that I'm moving the cars to where I am right now is to legitimately fix the last thing that he contributed to complaining about. Really? Really? So do you want me to be able to fix the problems or not? Do you want me to be able to be within compliance or not? He ain't gonna win, bro. He is not gonna win. But I will say that it is my goal over the next 3 to 4 months to absolutely lock in and save up enough to buy a piece of property out in Grant, where I can go ahead and start, you know, formulating the next step of this situation too, because I'm tired of being harassed. You know, I'm tired of having my neighbors just sit here and try to pull out any stop they can to cause problems for me when I'm not bothering you. If what you see with your eyes bothers you when it's harmless to everybody, you have a problem, and it's that simple. I don't understand what people's need to try to control other people hinges on when nothing I'm doing is harmful to anybody. Just look the other way. Just look the other way. You know, I keep it so real with you guys. I legitimately feel so sorry for somebody that's got so little going on that their top priority needs to be focusing on trying to control other people's lives. Obviously, I should be a little bit more composed about things. I understand. But man, it's really just a joke when somebody's just trying to go about their day and do their stuff, and then somebody else feels the need to loop around the block and start recording what you're doing and taking pictures of what you're doing like they don't understand how the process works with the city. You can take as many pictures as you want. If you report it to the city and say I'm doing it and they drive by tomorrow and it's not being done, they're not going to do anything about it. That's how it works. This ain't an HOA. I'll keep it so real with you guys too. Angry Zach always gets results. When I get blood boiling, I get results every single time. Y'all should have seen me at the city council meeting last year. You know, just went up there and I didn't have to write an entire piece of paper to try to follow the narrative of, so I didn't get overly emotional. I'm emotional, right? And I'm invested emotionally in things that involve me, but I can still keep my composure and I can still articulate myself exactly how I intend to, whether or not I'm angry or pissed off. So, you know, it's just how it goes, man. So now that I got the 240 and the Cressida put back in the backyard and we cleared out that area, Jack's going to be bringing by some fill dirt within the next couple days, and we're going to go ahead and fill that area back in, and then we're going to lay some sod on it so it looks, you know, like it's supposed to. But, you know, sometimes things have to look worse before they look better. So here's how we're looking right now. I had to put down a little bit of plywood to go ahead and get the cars down this steep little incline, and then I started backing them in and it started tearing into the gravel right here, so I have to pull the compactor out and get that all compacted. I also destroyed the side skirt on the Cressida back there, but fortunately I know a guy who can fix that. He is me, so it's not a big deal. It's a little annoying, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some musical cars. I'm gonna pull out the MR2 because that car can actually fit straight back in here, and that'll allow me to put the Suburban where the MR2 is because that's a lot deeper of a pocket. Even though I like the MR2 being where I can see it easily, it'll fit down there a whole lot better. And then I got a bunch of stuff back here that I've kind of been hiding with the MR2, so this will give me a good opportunity to clean this up, get it all pulled out to the curb for the dump truck. And yeah, things will be looking a lot better. I can get the Suburban off of the public access, which is technically 24-hour parking, but I've been moving it every day just because, you know. But I already know based off of what happened earlier that the city's 100% going to be driving by tomorrow, you know, to validate Timothy's complaints and his videos that he tried to record. Thankfully in Palm Bay, they work on the basis of you report it, we come and check the report, and if the report's not validated by what they see with their own eyes, then they're not going to cite you for it. So, you know, that is how it should work. I shouldn't be under 100% scrutiny at all times from people's ability to try to cause problems for me, especially when the reason why I'm doing something is to fix something I was cited for in the first place. Sorry, I got a bunch of cars. I needed to pull some out, you know? They really don't understand how much worse I can be. And by they, I mean my neighbors. You're not confined to any limit of vehicles within a driveway. The rule is, the code is, 2 wheels on the vehicle must be on the driveway for it to be considered on the driveway. That means it could be the front 2, the 2 rear wheels, it could be the 2 passenger side wheels, or the 2 driver's side wheels. With the way my driveway is set up, I could fit 9 cars in the main driveway. Do they really want that? Do they really want that? I'm not certain if this is how I want to lay it out yet. I'm probably going to move the MR2 again, but I'm going to pull the JZX100 over here, and then maybe put the D21 where the JZX100 is, since I drive the D21 the most. The JZX100 just needs front lower bushings, and the only company that makes them is based out of Siberia. But I do believe they just got their most recent order over to the States, so I'm about to order the second one that I need so I can rebuild the suspension on it. All my batteries are just completely dead, so when I jump them, if I don't let the alternator start taking over before the jump starter shuts off, well then it'll just die when the jump starter shuts off. I still need to check the injectors on this, but I was talking to a company on TikTok and they make a really sick injector tester, so I'm trying to get them to send it to me so I can clean out the injectors on this, but they want to send me a jump starter. Maybe I just need to start with the jump starter and then make a good video on it for TikTok or whatever, and then be like, alright, now send me the injector tester, because who wouldn't want one of those? Alright, so I don't want the MR2 hidden down here all the way at the end. I'd much rather the giant truck be at the end, so I'm going to move the MR2, move the truck over, and then put the MR2 next to the G35. Hey man, shout out to whichever neighbor thought that pointing out that I have rocks in my easement was going to cause a problem. I mean, maybe it did temporarily, but it's not like I gotta get rid of any vehicles to make it all work. I just gotta squeeze them together a little bit better. A little rearranging never hurt. Gotta keep it fresh, you know? Still the sickest lineup on the block. 100%. 100%. This is all the potential that I own, right? MR2 is going to be sick. Once I restore the G35, it's gonna be sick. Well, let me show you guys. Look, look, look. Look, look. Fresh red taillights. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. The smoked out taillights, out of here. Don't worry. Don't worry. The black wheels, don't worry. Out of here. Let's move the Lou-mobile. Last but not least, old reliable. This truck so much. Yes, it needs to be lowered. It's literally dual cam swapped on work wheels, 3-piece work wheels. Stock height. I care so much less than everybody else does, but I understand the sentiment. It would look a million times better if it was lowered. Perfect. So I got all the parts in that I need to fix this van, so this is very soon on the list. I busted the starter on this at the S-chassis meet. I didn't do anything to it, it just died. So we had to push start it, it was hilarious. We had to push start it, it was hilarious. I wish I got it on video. And now we got this big mess to clean up. Not the wood, I'll move that off camera, but obviously make it look like it's supposed to again. But hopefully that's not accompanied by another bad update from the city and the neighbors. Hopefully I can just get it taken care of. And that'll be that. But old Timothy down the road's gonna be calling him tomorrow, so I'm sure we're gonna hear something.